And folks, we're going to go ahead and get started. And so far, we've seen Jacqueline Briggs Martin, we've seen Sue Knott, and we've seen Mandy Bottoms with Molly Wong talking about California's early childhood unit. And next up, you thought it was something to get 40 hours worth of stuff in 45 minutes. This is monthly Ag Madness. You're going to get a whole year's worth of stuff. So we're going to the great state of Oklahoma. Amber Bales and JC Duncan, they are going to be sharing with you their monthly Ag Madness. I did put the link in a previously answered question for their Canva for their PowerPoint presentation, and I'll make sure I share that again as we get questions. Again, you're going to use the Q&A section as you have questions, but we are so excited to have both Amber and JC joining us. Here they are to talk about monthly Ag Madness. The floor is yours, ladies. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. I'm Amber.
And I'm JC.
And we are, like you said, going to share about the monthly Ag Madness. We want to it's really hard to get a lot of ag in the classroom in. We know with standards and teaching and those kind of things. And I teach 4th grade English language arts and social studies.
I am now a 6th grade science and 6th through 8 STEM teacher. So how we approach monthly Ag Madness is quite different. For me, I have a lot of flexibility and I can implement any curriculum into my classroom as long as I tie it back to state standards.
And with me, I'm a little tied to those standards, but we just take it month by month and have used a lot of different things for the month. And we also like to use a lot of national days, and we'll kind of get through there. Like he also said, we have our Canva in, and it is very linkable, and you can kind of go out into those. Everything is linked.
And we do want to touch on, and we'll kind of get more into it, but you're going to see a lot of references back to Oklahoma because we are Oklahoma teachers. We did present this at our Ag in the Classroom State Conference, but we hope this gives you ideas throughout it. And so you'll see we reference a lot of fruit and vegetables of the month. We paired those with our farm to school program here in Oklahoma. So it may look different to you in your state. So hopefully it kind of gives you an idea and you can just switch those out along the way.
And we also used a lot of resources from around the United States. So we have those linked so we can give credit to where credit's due for those as well.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Okay, so we are just going to jump right in. We get into August here in Oklahoma. This is when we start school. So I know a lot of other states, it's a little bit different. But we are featuring our fruit of the month, which is a watermelon. Our vegetable of the month, which is summer squash, and our national.
Sorry about that.
We're at school.
We're at school.
The National Trail Mix Day and our county fairs. Okay. So here in Oklahoma, it's quite a conversation starter. So our state vegetable is actually a watermelon, but it is the fruit of the month. So this is a great conversation starter you can have with students because how it is grown, it is classified as a vegetable, but how we eat it, it is classified as a fruit. So you can really start to have great conversations with your students right off the bat about that, and they find it really interesting. And I had several students in my STEM class that started to go to Walmart with their parents and were kind of looking for that. And they, went back and told their parents. So here in Oklahoma, we have ag tear sheets. Several other states do as well. So those are linked here. And we have those for early childhood, elementary, and then all the way up to high school. So I use the elementary because it is for upper elementary grades, and it has a lot of information, recipes you can make, and even activities like the watermelon volcano, which is in the bottom right hand corner.
And my students in 4th grade love to eat. So anything with taste testing always works out great. And we like the tear sheets because it always has the QR code for more information. And on the back, there's also some activities for them to do as well.
Then our next one is for National Trail Mix Day. This is a lesson that we have used in the classroom, and we've used it a lot of different ways. So you will see that we have on our page linked is an ag badging lesson that you can do really easy with a paper plate, and you're talking about the food groups. Here in Oklahoma, we just got a new resource, and it is the Oklahoma version of the MyPlate. So it features commodities that are grown specifically here in Oklahoma. Now they're grown in other states as well, but it just highlights what's grown in our state.
Yes, and in fourth grade, I have all the students in fourth grade on Fridays, and we do our Ag Fridays. And I used the Ag badging this last year. And in the Q&A, if we need to talk a little bit more about the Ag badging, we can do that as well, because it is a really neat resource, and also would help you planning your year-long lessons with that.
And just to kind of touch on, in the bottom left is the Okie commodity trail mix. This is something that we created. It's not an ag in the classroom resource, and I don't believe it's linked, but it is in a resource folder that we'll share at the very end. But it's just commodities that are grown in our state, and kind of just thinking about it in a different way. So for example, for our horticulture, that recipe had sunflower seeds. It had dried strawberries because that's our state fruit. It had marshmallows because of the oil and just different things like that. So it was just something that we made. It is not peanut or nut allergy free, so we don't recommend using that, but that is not linked because it's not an actual recipe, but it is in a resource folder at the end.
Yes.
Then we get into September, which is our favorite month because this is when football season starts. So this is National Chicken Month. September means football for us, and we get really excited about that. And National Honey Month and National Mushroom Month.
And of course, with our sports, we actually took this from the Illinois Ag in the Classroom, and we loved with the little necklaces, and you can put all of the football and agriculture things in there as well. There's a baseball one, as kind of get you started into the school year. We really enjoyed this one a lot. Also, the turf grass featured in the 2023 Super Bowl was developed at Oklahoma State University. So that's another good tie-in with all of those sports.
And it's, again, such a great conversation to have with our students, because so many kind of disassociate from the farm because, well, I don't live on a farm. I don't show animals, so I don't really need to worry about agriculture. Well, several students in our classroom play sports, so we really love having that conversation of we wouldn't have sports without agriculture.
Absolutely. And with Oklahoma, we have a large company that does a lot of mushrooms, and we've actually got to tour that before. So what a great time to bring in Mushroom Month and the resources, the mushroom stamping, and we've tied in a lot of books as well.
And just to kind of go back over this, we may say this a lot, but so many of these resources on the pictures are linked. So when you get this Canva link and you're kind of going through it, you kind of have to click on several things because all the things are linked. We tried to link as much things as possible just to make it such an easy resource to go back, and it's all in one spot for you.
And you can just teach it right from there if you choose to, or you could print it out. So we've tried to make it just pretty friendly and ready to go for when school starts.
Then we get into October. So we have National Pork Month, National Pizza Month. The vegetable of the month is pumpkins, and Halloween. And we do a twist to make it exciting. And my mom will touch more on that because it kind of goes back to her school, which is where we're at right now. We did not really focus on Pork Month for this, and for Halloween. We know several students do not celebrate Halloween, and we want to be respectful of that and mindful of the students we have in our classroom. So we're really going to go more into that on why we kind of focused on different things for October.
Yes. My school is really cultural diverse, if you are an international student and you live in international housing at Oklahoma State University, then you would come to my school. And so therefore I chose not to focus on the pork industry, but rather things, for example, pizza month and like cheese pizza and those kind of things. So that's why we did that. And we'll speak on that again on another slide as well.
So for National Pizza Month, we really just thought this was just something different that you can do. A lot of schools do pumpkins, and those are very tried and true lessons, but we kind of just wanted to do something a little bit different to kind of reach some students. So National Pizza Month, if you haven't read Pizza: A Slice of History, it's such a cute book, and it goes through the history of pizza. And so, but it incorporates timelines. And so when you have older students, this can be kind of that hook that you need to get to kind of teach timeline, because it is a hard concept, but kind of just make it a little bit more exciting.
And especially in math, you
Yeah.
can use those fractions, and there's a lot of activities with fractions in your math, and most students enjoy pizza, so that's always a good one. And again, that taste testing, they love that.
Yes. And there's another resource on this page, and it is from Utah, and it is the pizza time. So it's teaching the concepts of reading a clock, so to the quarter hour, and those things, but you're going back over pizza. So you're kind of hitting a lot of skills just using pizza as your medium. So
And the twist I like to take is creepy carrots and also tops and bottoms. And with creepy carrots, you can read, and you're talking about those figurative languages. And again, you can grow, they're still orange, all those kind of things. And I like to incorporate that as well. You can grow them, and they also come in different colors. And then also tops and bottoms, that was in a basil at one point in time. So again, you're talking and bringing in vegetables and what part do we eat, and there's all the different activities and lessons for those. So I like using the carrots, and then we also have an activity from the Minnesota Ag in the Classroom as well.
We then get into November. We have Native American Heritage Month, pecans, National Sandwich Day, and our fruit of the month is pears. In Oklahoma, we started out before Oklahoma was named Oklahoma. We were Indian Territory. So for us, we really want to honor Native American Heritage Month in respectful ways. And so for my school, they had a powwow and they came to our school to do that. So that was really neat. It was a great opportunity for students to learn about Native American heritage, and also kind of traditions that go into that and why they are traditions. But for this, our lessons go back to the Three Sisters. And so we have several things linked here. There's a garden and a glove activity that you can do. It's really a lot of fun. It's really easy. It's just cotton balls and the Three Sister seeds. And you just put them in the fingers of the glove, spray them with some water, and then you tape it up to a window. And so that's really all you have to do. And you can start to see those germination processes.
We also like the book Fry Bread. With this lesson, it's very an enticing book, and there's lots of visualization and those kind of things. And again, taste testing. And we kind of use bread along the way throughout the year, because even students from around the world at my school, we eat bread, and it might be called something different, but we still get to eat that. And for us, and hopefully I've taught JC, that one of the three things that we really try to do with all of our lessons is, where does your food, fiber, and fuel come from? And this is a good lesson for food, in that it's cultural, and we just might call it something a little bit different.
Right. And at the very bottom, that is another tear sheet that is linked. And we do that with corn. So this is kind of a way for us to tie that in, because there is Indian corn. So we kind of try to use that to tie it in. That way we can get as much tear sheets in our year as possible.
Real quick, we did have a question that came up about how many class periods do you use when you're going over this? There's a lot of stuff there, and just a really good question.
Okay, it is a good question. For me, since I teach the English language arts, then I might choose this book for a figurative language or something. I'm pulling that for a standard. I'm just choosing to use an accurate agriculture book to tie that in. So I'm using it daily, if not weekly, maybe a different book to work on that standard. When I have Ag Fridays, I have two 30-minute rotations. We have 4 fourth grades. So we combine two, we spend 30 minutes on Ag Friday, and then we rotate, and I have the second group for 30 minutes on Ag Friday. But it's a conscious choice to choose books that are accurate, and I'll bring in that background to tie in with my standard or with my story.
And for me, it looks a little bit different. So I teach at a what I consider a very small rural school. So I am a 6th grade science teacher in middle school STEM. So in our 6th through 8th grade, we have about 160 kids total in 6th, 7th, and I mean, that's everybody combined. So I have a lot more flexibility with what I do because I am the 6th grade science teacher. I am the STEM teacher. But I do it very similar to how my mom does it. I look at my standards and then I try and find an ag lesson that I can use to teach that standard. So for gardening in a glove, I've done that for photosynthesis and those processes and what plants need to grow. So that's how I do it. So you may just have to play around with it and see what works best for you, because what works for us may not work for other people.
And the other thing is that this is something that I've been doing for quite some time. So you might start small and you find something that you're passionate about, and then you start there. And it may not be monthly for you. It may just be a unit that you want to work on. And then maybe the next semester you might add something else, or the next school year. But you don't have to, hopefully we're just giving you an idea. You don't have to do them all in the month, but we're just hoping to get some avenues that you can do lessons with. I hope we've answered the question.
Awesome. I think that was a great explanation. Thank you so much. Yep.
So after Native American Heritage Month is kind of month long, but you get into Thanksgiving and you're gone, and kind of a lot of things are going on in the month of November. So kind of one more easy lesson that you could really tie into Thanksgiving is pecans. And so for us here in Oklahoma, pecan pie is included in our state meal. But we have been told when we visit other states that we kind of have a twang to how we talk. So one of the lessons, well, it's a resource on the ag sheets, is asking students how they pronounce the word pecan. So this was a bell ringer that I did one day in my middle school class, just to kind of, spark a conversation. The conversation ended up getting into an argument. So I really had to stop it, because there's several students like, no, that's not how you say it. We say pecan, not pecan. So just kind of a fun little thing that you can do in your class. And the book on here, My Grandpa, My Tree and Me, is featured from the American Farm Bureau Foundation, and it's a really cute book to have. Now it's for much younger students, not for middle school students, but they still like to be read to, so you can still do it.
Yes, and we're fortunate that here at my elementary, we have a pecan tree on our playground, so they're able to have their pockets full and eat those as well. And I was fortunate I didn't have a nut allergy or anything like that, so we were able to taste test and those kind of things in the classroom, and it was really eye-opening, because I'm not sure that some of them would even have recognized that we had one on our playground if we hadn't have, kind of talked about it and gone over it. So that was a lot of fun.
And the reason I'm such a foodie, but the reason we really do food is because that's such an easy medium to kind of hook students in. And especially with pecans, when you ask them, where do we get them? They really don't know. They don't know that it's grown on a tree. And so really to have these conversations are just fabulous. At the bottom is a video of pecan harvesting. And if you haven't ever seen that done, or you don't know what that process looks like, you really need to, because they literally just shake the tree. And so it's kind of fascinating because, you know, we're just so used to picking them up off the ground, and hoping for the best that you got some good ones. So it's really a neat video to watch.
Oh gosh, we get into December and one of my favorite times of the year, and we get to talk about forestry, the Christmas tree, and our vegetable of the month is carrots, and it's cotton harvest time as well.
So for our first lesson, we talk about Oklahoma forest, and here in Oklahoma we have 4 forest regions. And so kind of talking with students about that, and really just other people in general, because Oklahoma is generally referred to just being flat land of nothing, and that's not true. So really kind of showing students there's a lesson that takes the map of Oklahoma and it's divided out into the forest region. So being able to show that to students and then tying in what products we get from trees and what they use daily is really neat as well.
Yes. And then also we've tied into some Smokey the Bear curriculum as well, because we do have wildfires here in Oklahoma as well. And it may not be in our forest region, but we still have wildfires are in the prairies. And so we're still tying those in. And I think we just have talked about that maybe 9 out of 10 are started by humans. So we really want to get that in with our students as young as possible. And then our Christmas tree lesson is a fun one. And we take it into maybe not as the Christmas tree, but again, as the forestry aspect. And we like to use the tree cookie lessons. 2 books there. We have about the tree farmers 12 days of Christmas is a cool one. And then down at the bottom on the back of one our lessons is like a STEM activity. And so you get the solo cups that are the Christmas colors, and then they're able to build structures, Christmas tree structures, and those kind of things with the solo cups, and the kids enjoy that a lot.
After December, we get into January, and this is National Bean Day, National Soup Month, and Wheat Bread Month. So to tie in National Bean Day and National Soup Month, we have used the lesson Stone Soup a lot. This is probably one of my mom's favorite lessons to do in the class. And so for Stone Soup, we have an Oklahoma version of Stone Soup. So we do the Oklahoma version because that's a lesson that's tied to our state. But you don't have to do it that way. There's several resources that you can see from several states that talk about this lesson. And it's a lot of fun. You just throw the ingredients in a crock pot, you leave it on for a while, and then you enjoy it.
And then you can also do compare and contrast with the various versions of Stone Soup and those kind of things. In the classroom, I do like to have my students bring in ingredients, and then we always say that, you know, if we have too much, then we give those extra cans to a food pantry, and that works out really well. And so many students, well, I don't like vegetable soup, or I don't like this part of it. But then when you cook it in your classroom and they eat it and they're like, this is the best I've ever had, and they want more and more and more with it, then it's always fun. Also with the Stone Soup, then we talk about cornbread, and we would also make that and do cornbread. And I think JC has made it in
An air fryer.
Air fryer for the classroom. So those are just some different things. One of my most favorite books is the Who Grew My Soup, and that's from the Campbell's Soup Company. And that is a really good one. Again, I would choose it for figurative language, and you don't have to wait till, you know, this month. You could use it anytime during the school year, but it has some really good onomatopoeias. The illustrations are really wonderful and colorful, and they fly around. You could use it in social studies and geography, and they fly around to different farms to where they get some of their ingredients for Campbell's soup. So that's always a nice little tie-in for social studies.
If you are at a school district that doesn't allow you to do things in a crock pot and kind of different things. We separated it kind of back out. And so you can just celebrate National Bean Day. So for these resources, we have Full of Beans, Henry Ford Grows a Car. That book is linked. We in Oklahoma have several opportunities to attend professional development through the Oklahoma Soybean Board. So if you go to YouTube, there is a video of he's the president, right?
Yeah, well, he's like the or
There
the
you go.
director of the soybean board.
And he is reading the book Henry Ford Grows a Car in a Soybean Field.
Yes, and also the bean is a seed. I know that's a tried and true. I will say I do like using soybeans for that because they're quick sprouts. They will germinate really quickly. You can also just hang them on your windowsill. And I will say that about 3 years ago, I kind of had this idea about soybean, if Oklahoma had a state lagoon. And we do a lot with the soybean in our counties. Where we live is, or where JC graduated from and where I live, it grows a lot of soybeans. So we started talking about it, and I incorporated 2 other teachers that also have a passion for ag in the classroom. And so we talked to our senators and representative, like, do we have a state lagoon? And so they did the research on it. We taught the lessons, we kept engaged with them, and after 3 years, this past spring, Oklahoma passed the bill, and so the soybean is our state lagoon. We will get to go to a ceremonial signing on July 31st, and we will get to watch our governor sign, so the soybean is now our state lagoon.
And we also want to highlight another activity within the lesson, A Bean is a Seed. So that is linked. But one of the lessons that we like to do, because a bean is a seed necklace, is utilized a lot. So kind of trying to think of something different to kind of, hook students. We highlighted a makerspace bean seed life cycle, and it's a bracelet. We kind of did it a little differently, and we did a keychain. So again, at the very end, we'll share the link for our resource folder, and that is in there. You may just have to scroll for a while because everything was just thrown into one folder. But it's on there, and it's the same life cycle that you would do for the bracelet, but we just did it on a keychain hook for older students, just to be a little something different.
And they could always hook that on their backpacks and those kind of things as well. Do we have another question?
I can't really see.
Yeah.
Sorry, we did. Yep, we do. The monthly ag topics that you're talking about, those are Oklahoma specific, correct? And you've also talked a little bit about farm to school. And so which is great. Farm to school often by states will pick different things that are available. I do know that the Farm to School Network in Illinois, there are certain things that we have that say Florida Farm to School doesn't talk about in each month. So you can look on that. These are just what Oklahoma Ag in the Classroom has picked, and they have those topics, correct?
But several of our, so sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but several of the lessons are on the national matrix as well. So yes, they talk about Oklahoma, and we have Oklahoma specific resources, but several of the lessons are also on the national matrix. So we are hoping this kind of sparks some ideas that, you can go back and look at your ag in the classroom program, look at your calendar, and kind of substitute some things in that fit for your schedule.
Also, all the national days are not Oklahoma days. They're national days, and we got them from the national, like a national calendar, like you can see on Instagram, or you can subscribe to those. So we tried to also find like a national day. So those are universal, for the state. The commodities, yes, are Oklahoma, but like the National Bean Day, that's National Bean Day across the United States.
Exactly. Thank you so much. That was a great explanation. Again, you could pick anything. I mean, if you want to talk about pumpkins in May, knock yourself out, because that's when you're planting them.
Yeah,
Right.
we just put them in monthly. We were also, we do a little video each month, and this goes out on our Oklahoma Ag in the Classroom website. So we just try to highlight things for us, but hopefully we're wanting to spark your creativity and just give you some ideas.
Perfect. Thank you so much. We just posted the National Day calendar as well in the chat, so that's there too. Thank you.
So after January, we get into February. So we have African American History Month, National Potato Lovers Month, the vegetable of the month is sweet potatoes, and Pancake Day and Toast Day. So combining a lot of these, we wanted to highlight George Crumb, and George Crumb coined the potato chip, but it was originated with the Saratoga chip. So you have that book there that is linked. Another great book, because we are so close to Kansas, the book is called No Small Potatoes, about a Kansas farmer. So we kind of just tried to combine several things for this one. And so the QR code does have potato lessons, but the sweet potato pie in a bag actually comes from Georgia's Ag in the Classroom program. Well, they're a Farm Bureau program, but it comes from them. But it's just really fun to do, because when you show this to students are gonna be like, I'm not eating a sweet potato. I was the same way. I was like, no, just give me the regular, potato. I don't want to do the sweet potato. It's really good. And so when we do these things in the classroom, just like she said, we're getting so many students that, oh my gosh, I actually really liked this. And then they're going home telling their parents, and then we're getting phone calls like, what on earth did you feed my child in class?
And what's the recipe?
Yeah, and because they won't stop talking about it. So kind of just introducing a lot of new fruits and vegetables in for students. Another lesson is a potato clock that you can do, and to make it, for older students, you can talk about electric currents, and you're talking about those different things. And that's what I did for my STEM class. That's how I approach potatoes, and then I could tie in some other things.
And what a great for writing. You can do a lot of writing, you can graphing and stuff. And the other interesting thing is that sometimes I think we just say potato chip, and when you have them bring in their favorite chip, it's not a potato chip. It might be a corn chip or another kind of chip, or even the veggie straws. So what a great conversation. Is that a potato chip, or is it a corn chip? Tortilla chip, all those kind of things has really sparked an interest in the kids like eating chips. So what a great conversation starter.
We we have both done this just a little bit differently, but we have a farm in Oklahoma, so this is how we tie our students to this. It's called Triple S Farms. Their potatoes go to a Lay's plant, and they end up becoming Lay's potato chips. So we have done Lay's potato chip taste tests because Lay's always comes out with kind of some crazy flavors sometimes. So kind of bringing in those different flavors and just having a taste test. For my middle school students, we did this in talking about our taste receptors. So we kind of did a blindfold taste test. So they really had to use their, taste test receptors for that, and trying to figure out what the flavor was without seeing it.
And then also they could create their flavor. And for me, it was using adjectives, how we could describe and maybe use some different words other than the same of good or all those kind of things. So really trying to use our writing and adjectives and those kind of things as well. And then Toast Day is one of my favorite days. I have a toaster, so we bring in different breads. We talk about, now, is this a wheat bread, white bread, all those kind of things. You can bring in several different ones, and we eat toast. Also, we make butter as well. This is one of my most requested to keep it going as we move through. You can always talk about jellies and fruits and those kind of things. But again, or and sesame, and I don't want to forget that one as well. We raise sesame here in Oklahoma, or grow sesame. So we're able to bring in the everything seasoning, bagel seasoning, and talk about sesame. We have a tear sheet for that. But toast is just one of those things that we eat bread across the world, and just being able to talk about those different breads for this day. But again, I'm asked and we end up having to get the toaster out more than just this day.
And so Toast Day, you'll see for this past school year is so when we presented this, it was at our state conference, so last July. So February 29th is not the date, for this next year. So it'll be the 28th, but we still just had it on there. So I apologize for that. I didn't fix it. But it was for this past school year. So, okay. Then we get into March. We have National Peanut Month, National Noodle Month, Cereal Day, and Crayon Day. Because we both have experienced having more and more students that are coming into the classroom with peanut allergies, we did not do a slide over that. So we decided to focus on 2 other days for this. But if you don't have students that have that, peanuts are a great one because mostly every student loves a peanut butter sandwich, and so you can tie it in that way. So we did Cereal Day. The book is that we tied in for this is Breakfast Around the World, because all of us eat breakfast every morning. We need it to fuel our brain to get us going for the day, and it's just going to look a little different around the world. So again, you're having great conversations with your students, and you're using food and agriculture as activities or resources to kind of tie it in. So
I think we got like 5 minutes.
oh goodness. Okay. The eating nails for breakfast is the lesson that is linked and talking about the iron in our cereal. And we have some other ones. The Food Master Grains is a lesson from National Ag in the Classroom, the curriculum matrix for that one.
Crayon Day is one of my favorite days. That's why I like being a teacher. I like the school supplies, and this time of the year is really hard on me. But with Crayon Day, you can use the Praying crayons that are made from soybeans and do compare contrast with regular crayons. There's also you can make your own plastic with the soy beans, I think, over there on the side. But Crayon Day, I really like using that about this time, because then in April you can refer back to their favorite color and do poems, poetry with that as well. So I really like the compare and contrast of soy crayons and regular crayons.
Then we get into April. So we have National Poetry Month, the fruit of the month is strawberries, and National Gardening Month. This is where it can get kind of tricky because it's the end of the school year. You're having state tests or your state assessments and a lot of different things. So it can get, kind of hectic in April and May, but we wanted to highlight strawberries. And the reason for that, in Oklahoma, this is our state fruit. But I Love Strawberries by Shannon Anderson. It's a really cute book. And it's kind of written, if I remember correctly, in the form in a diary. So you're kind of having a different writing perspective for students to see. We have our tear sheets added, and because it's poetry, there's a haiku poem that you can do. And I've done this with second graders, and they loved it. So
yes, and if you don't have strawberries ready to go, I just use jam this year. Jams or jellies work just fine, or the fresh fruit as well.
And the recipe we have is a strawberry parfait pie. Again, this one is in a Ziploc bag, so it's really easy to do, and your kids will love it. On that recipe, I just made a slight change because the actual recipe calls for pretzels. I knew at that time that my students were not going to do that, so I did it with graham crackers, and they loved it. I had parents asking me, "What on earth did you feed my child?" because they will not stop talking about it. So it's a really easy lesson to do in the classroom.
All right. And then with gardening month, there's just, you can plan. I know a lot of people have gardens and those kind of things. We won't spend a lot of time talking about that, but we did make a connection with cucumbers, and I think we have linked a Ziploc bag where you can make your own pickles.
And that lesson comes from Florida. And so we did that, and it's a lot of fun because students often don't remember that or don't know that a pickle is actually a cucumber that you know, so again, you're just sparking
can make-
conversations.
Yes, make them in pickles and then add a little ranch. Just for cucumbers, I add a little ranch and they thought it was the best thing they've ever had. So you might add ranch.
And then our final month that we'll highlight is May. So we have Cinco de Mayo, National Hoagie Day, and School Lunch Hero. So the coined phrase for that is Hoagies with Heroes to honor our cafeteria workers. Oklahoma beef, and the fruit of the month is blueberries. For us, beef in Oklahoma is huge. So to kind of tie that in with Cinco de Mayo, that's how we get it in. And so an lesson that you can do is, so you want to grow a taco, it reviews the ingredients used to make a taco and the agriculture products that they come from, or a tortilla in a bag. Again, a super great lesson to make your own tortillas.
And it makes a lot, so you might want to watch that
Yes.
recipe.
Yeah.
If you use it, it makes a lot of tortillas and you'll be cooking about a half a day. So
Yes.
you might want to watch that one.
And the book for this is Big Moon Tortilla, that you probably already have in your classroom library, so you can get that out and use it for this lesson. And our last one is the Oklahoma fruit of the month is blueberries. So we don't actually grow these in a large commodity. It's not, but it's just kind of something different that you can do. We have a Oklahoma berry nana smoothie recipe. Again, you can do that in a Ziploc bag in your classroom. You can make your own blueberry Play-Doh. And then we use the Bookberry song to tie the literacy connection into it.
Yes.
So this is the end of our presentation, Monthly Ag Madness. So our contact information is on there. Please don't hesitate if you ever have any questions. We will email you or answer anything that you have as quickly as possible. We have our links, and a resource folder is on there. So.
Hey guys, we have a couple minutes left for questions. You did, again, comments coming in. Fantastic presentation. A couple of things I'll point out is, you take a breath. You can take a breath, JC. It's okay. You made it. But 9 months worth of activities, not only focused on Oklahoma, but they did such a great job of integrating in. Folks, don't recreate the wheel. Rip off and duplicate. I mean,
Absolutely
you borrowed sweet potato stuff from Georgia. You talked about an Illinois poster. You talked about this from Florida, that from New Mexico. It's everywhere. It's out there, and you guys are a perfect example of that. So, again, great ways. The links are there. One thing we will share with you is that we're going to post those links when we post the links to their presentation. We'll post those with the videos when we share those. So you'll be able to go back, watch for that. Give us a couple days. Takes everything a minute to download from the cloud, and then we got to get it uploaded to the website. So look for that by early next week. We'll have that out there. So again, some more thank yous for sharing such wonderful ideas. Just a great thing. So now I am going to ask you, because now I believe, Amber, you've been to a couple national conferences, right? Was this your first one, JC?
No, so this was actually my second national conference. Mm-hmm.
And Amber, you've been to a couple, I believe, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So tell people who didn't go what else some people didn't come to your session because they knew you were going to be here. Tell people what they missed if they didn't go, and put a plug in for that.
Missed as far as
At the conference, what do you enjoy most about going to conferences? Sorry.
I personally, kind of got into ag in the classroom because of my mom and several other teachers from Oklahoma who are state winners and national excellence in teaching. But just all the ideas from different states that you get, and just connecting with people who are so willing to help you. And hey, if you need a resource from us, just email us. Hey, if you need an idea or you want a Zoom call, just email us, just talk to us, and we can help you in any way. That is what has always stuck out to me the most.
And I think too, I love all that. I love the connecting. I like going on the local tours, the state, learning about their state and their commodities and their production and how they do things a little bit different, and connecting to people on the trip with that. But again, learning about the rest of the United States and the different places that host and those kind of things. But mostly too. It's just that collaboration and getting ideas from other people as well.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much. Again, people coming back and saying what a great presentation, that kind of thing. Awesome job. We really appreciate Amber and JC from Oklahoma joining us today. Thanks again. We look forward to that. Our next presentation will begin right at the top of the hour. So we're going to go ahead and stop recording. And our next presentation